everyone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this on-demand edition of Log from Home. Thank you, Kate, for organizing this, and I hope we find you all safe and sound. And we are eager to record this video today about hiring trends and specifically on vendor management and why we think vendor management is the new black.
Oh.
So I'm glad to be here today with Giada Gerotto. Giada is here because she strongly believes in healthy business relationship, respectful recruitment practices, and she's really strong about that. And I'm really proud of having her with Creative Words. And she's strong about building really strong relationship with our vendors, and this is why she loves talking about vendor management. She has linguistic studies. She's done linguistic studies, and she's really a proactive community manager, linguist by training, and she's enthusiastic about working with our freelancers. And you will probably have heard her at many events lately. So Giada, thank you for being here with us. It's a pleasure to talk with you.
I'm also very happy to be here with Diego Cresceri, who is the CEO of Creative Words. I'm sure you've seen him and you can recognize him for his daring glasses, which are his top one feature. He's here with us today because he does believe in vendor management. He invests a lot on that. And he really believes in training and continuous development, not only for our freelancers, which is what we are fostering a lot with our community, but also in general, like he's really into training and that talk about bridging the gap with the academy and the university training. So vendor management and hiring, and specifically hiring and developing people, is really his cup of tea. We just wanted to show you his many pairs of glasses. That's what we have to see every day.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much. This was actually something that we would have done in the live event. It seems weird in the recorded video. So let's see how it's gonna work.
Yeah, but I mean, it was too beautiful not to keep it there.
Thank you.
Go, let's get serious now.
Yep.
So we are starting with an overview of events. So the discussion is vendor management and how this is evolving and how this is impacting hiring trends for freelancers. We thought, okay, then vendor management is evolving. How is that evolving? And we noticed there are two big trends in vendor management nowadays. And the first one is about events. So as Diego is the master of events, he's always there. And then I let him go with that.
Yeah, thank you. You had a great idea of analyzing how much vendor management is, spoken about at events. So let's start with Lockwood. Thank you for doing this research. In 2018, there was just one session at Lockwood event talking about vendor management, and this is growing. In 2021, there was 2 sessions, and let's see what's going to happen in 2022 with other Lockwood events. And it really starts showing a trend of a growing interest in the topic. If we think about Gala, for instance, back in 2017, just one webinar of Gala, and they do a lot of webinars, was about vendor management, and 2018 was just one blog post, and you see there's a growing trend again. 4 webinars in 2019, 3 webinars and 1 blog post in 2020, and again 2 webinars in 2021, and Gala in 2022 is actually organizing a what's that? How's that called? A masterclass? Academy. So it's a series of I believe 4 webinars, 4 meetings where Giada will be actually conducting them, and it will be about vendor management. And this again shows that there is an increasing interest in this role in our industry, both on the LSP side and on the buyer side.
Yeah, and that's also confirmed by the other trend that we've been analyzing, which is the amount of job offers available. Now, I've been seeing a lot of job offers lately on LinkedIn about vendor management, and I was like, okay, let's check if it's my feeling or if there's really a lot out there. And in fact, I ran a quick search on the day I was creating the deck, and I could find quite some job offers for vendor managers in our business. And that's actually something I want to point your attention on, specifically starting with the job titles. So not everyone is calling vendor management. In fact, my role in Creative Words is community manager. So I'm not in the vendor manager job title trend anymore. And that makes it a bit difficult to actually understand how many people are in the business now and in this position now in our industry. We've been thinking about doing the research on that, but it's super difficult to identify who is doing that, and especially on the buyer side. But anyway, so that's one thing. We have talent manager, community manager, vendor manager, globalization vendor manager, recruiter, and then supply chain manager. So there are still quite some names out there for the role. We tried and see if there was a trend in terms of locations, but no, like everyone is hiring vendor managers. Most of the jobs in the screenshot here are in Europe, but they are either hybrid or on-site or remote. The one from Argus, for example, you can't see that in the ad, but it's for the US, and there's something in Brazil. So I mean, it's like everywhere. And another interesting thing is that it's in different businesses. So you can see it with different colors. Purple are on the buyer side. There are big translation agencies, big LSPs, Transperfect, Keywords, RWS, and then smaller translation agencies alike who are getting more interested in vendor management and recruiting vendor managers. So that's really spread, and it seems like everyone's looking for vendor managers at this time, which is of course very good. I'm biased, but it's making something happen. So what's going on? We're shifting from decentralized vendor management to centralized vendor management. So basically, that means that vendor management is not anymore a set of tasks that's spread among different people in the company, usually project managers. And it's also not only procurement anymore. It's centralized with a specific department that's doing that kind of stuff. Which is bringing some advantages. The first one that I think sometimes it's a bit undervalued is having the big picture. So I think the main value of a vendor manager at a company is that they have the big picture of the freelancers available, which has benefits in all sort of things like relationship first. You know who your people are, you can talk to them, you can be more honest in the recruitment, you can keep track of what's happening, you can keep track of their workload, you can keep track of the money the company is spending on freelancers, and you can carry out a comprehensive risk assessment of freelancers. Like vendor risk assessment is like kind of the key principles in vendor management. Now, most of the localization companies don't do that in a structured way, but still it helps a lot to have somebody who's taking care of everything, because they are able to assess stuff. And then there's the evolution in terms of relationships, which again is one of my strongest interests in the role. So I wanted to have a separate bullet point for that. We're shifting from transactional relationships with freelancers to stable partnerships. When you have someone who's dedicated to them, you are better able to identify the people who would really fit your needs and your pool of translators. And all the effort you would put on the transactional onboarding, like having recurrent job ads asking freelancers to join your company, or contacting people every now and then, like for new jobs, is shifting towards an effort in terms of retention. So what can I do to keep these people with me? Send them work, yes, of course, that's key, and something else. And that something else is indeed what I think is the first evolution in terms of hiring trends for freelancers. So we are moving more towards other stuff we add.
Yeah, absolutely, Giada. And I think we've seen that coming from our customers as well. There have been at least a couple of initiatives from our customers that just started to treat us as really part of a community for them as well. So
yeah,
something we've been doing for since you joined us, I would say. But I see this is, and of course, it makes you feel good as a vendor, as a supplier. I mean, you really feel part of something bigger. And this is really important.
yes, completely. And it shows with freelancers as well. They know they can contact you, they can ask you things, and it's a relationship again.
Yeah, I just want to mention that when I started the company, what I would do is I would test like hundreds of people, and this has changed because of you, of course. And you brought your own expertise and your own vision for vendor management.
Yeah, but that's again something you cannot do when you're wearing different hats. So how could you take care of vendor management, project management, and invoicing and everything else? So that's why a dedicated team helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as these slide shows now, vendor management is really part of business strategy. And Renato, in his book, the general theory of the translation company, had already identified it as a core function for LSPs, and I cannot but agree with him. Vendor management is all about pursuing happiness of vendors and in the relationship with vendors as well. And you really need to think the approaches that you have towards your supply chain, which is actually a word, an expression that I don't like. I don't like the supply chain. There are better ways to express that, I would say, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the
and
idea.
As you already mentioned, I really believe in proactive vendor management rather than reactive. So what is best, in my opinion, is really build a community of people that are there in your database, but and you build on the relationship, you build on the on having them with you and being there to work with you. They need to trust you, of course. They need to believe you're there for them as well. So it's not really reacting to offers or requests from customers. It's really having a sustainable database where you can even have buffers for in case you get projects. So this is what we're trying to do. So we're not just trying, and of course it happens that you need to react. Of course you get strange and weird requests, but
I was about to say that.
yeah. I mean, this happens every day, and you decide to offer only Italian, for instance, and you get all other languages, and happening all the time. But it's really part of the business strategy. I mean, it's you need to decide where you want to go and adapt vendor manager to that in a proactive way.
Yeah, and that's I think
the more you specialize your suppliers, your vendors, your freelancers, of course, the best for your customer. In the end of the day, we are here to serve our customers as best as possible.
Completely, yes. The idea is that, in fact, you're able to find the people for your projects, so not just the ones who are reacting to your post or to your ad, but or the ones who are able to take it at that specific time of the day and for that specific deadline. Because the idea is that you build on that. So they're more reliable, they are more tested, market tested, hopefully they are more specialized, they're more in line with your verticals. So that's a benefit everywhere. And It was
Yeah,
good.
we haven't mentioned price
Uh-huh.
too much, of course. Cost as a role in that as well, but when, as Elena Bond is saying here, she's vendor management professor at the MIS University. When assignments of translators to projects isn't specialized and happens only based on the price, I mean, this is not gonna work. I mean, it produces poor quality, and you will basically lose your customer. This is why I think it's very strategic. It's not. It's part of the business strategy and the business vision. Absolutely. I mean, and price, of course, as a role, it's not to say that we don't care about pricing. This plays a role as well, of course, but it's part of the bigger picture that you should have with your vendor management strategy.
Yes, completely. The MIS is the only institute, the only university, as far as we know, that's offering vendor management training. And when I talked to Elena, and she was indeed mentioning that it's super important to train vendor managers because that's what's changing the hiring process. That's what's helping companies to have more reliable people out there.
Well, if we were live at this point, I would have probably solicited some comments in the chat asking for people if they knew of any other university offering this kind of training. And we're not live, but still, if you know of any other, please let us know, because I'm really interested to know. Of course, when you talk about all these proactiveness or proactivity, the fact that you need to take care of your vendors, you talk about negotiation and everything, this and the specific role that vendor management is luckily becoming, this is where you need formal training. You just can't be, study languages. If you're a translator, probably you know part of that, but there's still a big need for formal training, of course.
Yes, that's what also this professor of the Kent University shared with us. At some point, I had the feeling they might have something on vendor management, and he said they don't because change in academy is painfully slow. I'm quoting him again. I like this, but yeah, it's crucial. It's becoming part of something that's of something we're feeling the need for. So that's just great. And what are we doing for that? We are trying to make up for the lack of formal training with informal training. So there are a lot of networking and events organized for and by vendor managers, or where vendor managers are taking part in. And together with Carmen Cisneros, who's the vendor manager at Ultimate Language Solutions, I think it's called. We've built this group. I mean, actually, she's built the group. I've joined it later. And it's a group where we're having regular meetups for vendor managers, and we are discussing trends in the industry. Right, the last meetup in February was about future trends of vendor management, what we foresee for the future of our role. So if there are vendor managers out there, you're more than welcome to join the group if you aren't there yet.
Yeah, there's something that I didn't mention, that with Elia, one of the biggest audience we had for our webinars was indeed the one with you about vendor management and the relationship with project managers, because this is also important. And yeah, and again, it shows interest in the topic of vendor management and relationship and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's something where it's hard to find training. I myself am very interested in training. That's why I talked to Elena from the MIS. I've been doing vendor management for like 6 years, 7 years now. Still, I'm lacking formal training in that. So I'm doing it the way I think it's right, but I don't know if it is in the end. So, and it would really be great to have more formal training around. But yeah, so what is happening for vendor management is what is happening for freelancers and with translation companies. Literally, there's so much out there with training
opportunities arising. We put here our CW lab because it's been there for a couple of years now. But really, in the last couple of months, I saw at least a couple. Localized Academy is one of them, and our friends on the way with Localization Academy. And this shows really that LSPs are starting to see a need for training, for formal training, and are doing their part in filling that gap.
Yes,
this is happening.
And it's actually what you were discussing back in, what was that, 2019 at the Luck from Home?
2019, yeah.
So that's happening. So that's moving slowly, but moving. And with LSPs and vendor managers, I think it's a bit the same. We are acting. I mean, some companies are more focused on that than others, and that's something we need to appreciate. Creative Words has always had this super interest in training. Diego is shaping the company the way he is and the way he thinks, of course. So we all do believe in training, and we're offering a lot of training to our translators. We've organized workshops. We've organized a mentoring program. We have a training community that's dedicated to our freelancers, where they need a voucher to access. So it's kind of a private CWE lab for our translators, and they're making good use of that. And that's, of course, increasing the specialization of our translators with benefits for our customers in the end. So I'd like to point this as another trend in hiring these days. I am not so sure it's key for companies to find people who are ready to handle everything. That's becoming more and more difficult, especially as the business is really diversifying. So there are a lot of services that are there and weren't there like 10 years ago. And no translator can know it all.
Absolutely.
Most of the market tested and well-established translators are potentially not doing, I don't know, SEO because it's more recent. For example, if they're not that much into continuous professional development, they might lack expertise on that, and training them is the way to help your company build a solid pool. So
yeah,
training
well, I do think that professional growth is one of the most engaging parts of the relationship with freelancers and with anybody. So this is what we are spending so much efforts in that, and it's paying off, of course.
Yeah,
paying a lot.
Well, then I think we're at the end of our presentation. So
we are. It seems we are. And yeah, I was not used to do a recorded video. I think this is the first time. I guess I hope it was not too bad on my part. You've been great, by the way. And yeah, this would be where we would collect questions from the audience. And unfortunately, this is not how it's going to be this time, but we are available. I guess you and Giada as well. Get in touch with us via LinkedIn or on our website. You can find our references and contact details. So get in touch. Any question? We don't have the crystal ball. Probably we didn't talk about technology and how technology can improve. Vendor management, maybe something's going to happen, maybe not. We don't know. Probably something's going to happen. I would say we wanted really to focus on the, I guess, human part. We need that in these times, I guess.
Yeah, more than ever.
Yeah.
True. Well, Diego, it's been a super pleasure to talk with you.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Yesterday we were together in the same room. Now we are like kilometers apart. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you, Kate, again. Thank you, everybody, for watching the video to the end. Yeah, and let's stay in touch.
Yes, feel free to get in touch with
everything,
questions and everything. And we are happy to welcome anyone who has food for thought for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you again, Smartcat. Thank you, everybody. Ciao.
Bye. Ciao.
Bye-bye.